Welcome back to the second Restore Brownsboro podcast. Today, I have an exciting guest, someone who can fly through the sky, literally and metaphorically. By the way, this is not affiliated with Restore Corporate whatsoever. This is just some people sitting down on a couch talking about it, and we just happen to be at Restore. So, I'd like to introduce our guest, Rick Harrell.
Hi, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So, I want to talk about real quick, what brought you to Restore? Because I feel like when I started working there, it was about when because I remember signing you on, like you coming in and being like, this is Rick. He sounds so nice. I'm excited to have a fun member in. So what brought you in?
So basically, I started reading the works of Peter Attia. I think we've talked about that. And he talks a lot about recovery. That's right. The recovery was the biggest thing that I took from some of his readings. And as I dove a little deeper into what recovery means, whether it's zone 2 training, we can talk about that later, or whether it's red light therapy or cold exposure therapy. Those are the things that kind of pushed me towards looking into Restore as a place to spend some time. The primary reason was to look for a place to do red light therapy because I'd been reading about the benefits of that. So that was the primary reason that drove me to come walk through the door that day.
So what about red light therapy? Like, what about it draws you to it?
Well, I was reading also another one of my self-proclaimed gurus is
that's a great name.
I can't remember his name. Gary Brecka. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm 55 almost, so sometimes it takes a little time for everything to come to me. Gary Brecka was. I read some stuff on his website about red light therapy and how he does it every day, and the fact that we don't as humans get red light anymore. That those frequencies of light, because they're basically only available in the morning at sunrise, and I think maybe to a certain degree at sunset as well. Well, we usually miss those because we're either in the car or we're still asleep or we're working shift work, which is what I do quite often. So to think about the fact that we're not getting that frequency of light on a regular basis that humans have got for eons before the invention of the light bulb, that was another facet of recovery that I thought I would look into. So the benefits of red light are wide and varied, but basically there's thoughts that it improves mood. There's actually thoughts that it can improve your metabolism at a cellular level. I think there's even been some, I don't know this for a fact, but I think there's been some studies on improving skin health, So that's one of the reasons I decided to look into red light therapy as a mode of recovery.
Mm-hmm. I even see some people now doing red light for hair health. Like some guys are saying there's some like stuff going on with like if you're losing your hair thinning, it's going to help with that. I don't know much about the science, but there's a guy I listen to called Alex Keekel. Super smart. Like I wish I knew what he knew, but he's super about red light, and I want to keep picking his brain about it. So I'm like, okay. And what I enjoy is that, at least like Hannah and I, like we try to learn more about the modalities of Restore.
Right.
Because of course we work there, but like I also want to I want to know the science behind what's going on.
Right.
And especially even if Restore has training that says, hey, this is what's going on to like educate the staff. I want to take that extra step further and be like, all right, let me really figure out what's happening here with like different wavelengths with NIR, FIR, MIR, and like what's happening here.
Yeah, you want to be able to speak intelligently to your clientele about what they're doing, because that benefits them. Because you walk into a red light chamber and you're there for 20 minutes and then you leave, you don't really feel any specific effect other than you were warm for a little bit, right? And then your eyes are all weird and you can't see blue for a while. Right? Those are the things those are the only real effects that you get when you go in one time.
Right.
So yeah, you want to be able to talk to them about, this is what happens over time. Your mood improves, your skin improves. It could help with at least being able to minimize hair loss or maybe even increase hair growth. So yeah, I can understand why you want to look into it. I read a book. There's a bunch of books on red light therapy, and I can't remember which book I read. I have it at home on my desk right now. I'll be happy to send that to you after this podcast, and you can put it in the comments, or I could put it.
Notes.
I could add it in the show notes afterwards. Let you know which one I read. couple of other books that I read that kind of moved me toward Restore as a place that I could go do some wellness and recovery therapy were the Wim Hof method. I think we've talked about that before with regard to cold weather exposure and how good that is. And we can talk about that later, because when I came to Restore, obviously it was for red light, but then I remember it might have been you, or it might have been Hannah or someone else that said, you ought to do red light and cryo. Okay, that sounds good. So, I started doing red light and cryo on a regular basis.
Yeah. No, that's actually, that's part of the reason why I started doing cryotherapy was Wim Hof. Because
Right.
I did his breath work before anything else. Because, I had a little bit of anxiety cooking around, and his breath work style was very calming, especially when I used to go to bed, because I'm so wired all the time that it helped me go to sleep.
Right.
So I did that for months straight, and now I just sleep better, so that's great. But it was definitely a gateway into more recovery and more health. I feel like it's kind of is. You discover something, and then it's like a whole rabbit hole down of health and longevity.
Yeah, you can really take it to the nth degree for sure. What I really took from the Wim Hof, when I'm talking to people about this stuff, no one really wants to dive into the science that often. I'm kind of a nerd that way. I like to do that. But what I took away from the Wim Hof Method book was the skin is an organ that doesn't get exercised. We exercise our heart, we exercise our body, our muscles, our lungs when we do aerobic exercise. But the skin never gets exercised. In the winter, we put coats on and we stay in heated houses. And in the summer, we stay in air conditioning and air-conditioned cars and air-conditioned houses. So the skin is rarely put through all of its paces and I don't want to say expansion and contraction, but the blood flow adjusting for cold weather and adjusting for warm weather, a really hot extremes. So that's one of the things I took away from that book is that the skin needs to be exercised as well, and that produces a lot of hormones and other beneficial blood markers that increase health and wellness recovery as well.
Yeah, Hannah, for you, because I know you've done cryo for a while. What have you noticed about cryo that has helped you out the most?
Oh my gosh, I love it because I sleep throughout the night when I do it. Really, I'm constantly up throughout the night, and when I do cryo, I sleep through the whole night, and that's one of the main reasons I really like to do it.
Sick.
Sick.
I remember the first time I did it. I haven't recreated this particular response, but the very first time I ever did it, and I got down, I don't think I did minus 220. I think the first one was minus 160 maybe for 2 minutes ish. And I came out and I felt like I could run through a brick wall. Like I got a real rush. And it kind of feels like an amusement park ride, to be honest. Now I look forward to it. I really like it. As a matter of fact, I do a little experimentation. Sometimes I just walk in and let it take me. Sometimes I go into the chamber and I do that box breathing pattern. I think that's one of the Wim Hof breathing patterns, that probably one of the initial ones that he teaches. But I do the box breathing pattern, and I found that I can actually reduce my skin temperature by box breathing compared to just going in there and free breathing. It's very, very interesting. I'll come out a little bit colder when I do that. But those are all fun things to do while you've got 3 minutes in the chamber with your favorite music in a lot of cold weather.
Oh, and what's your go-to song?
Everybody makes fun of me, the Dua Lipa training season.
I love it.
And I know I do it so often. Now I do mix it up some, but I put that song on so often that I know exactly when the 3 minutes is up.
Yep.
And my body adjusts. My body's like, okay,
Time to
this
get
is
out.
it. All right. Is anybody still out there?
Hello, hi.
Hello. I'm getting cold in here.
Now, have you gotten to try out any other kind of cryo chambers, or are we the only one so far?
You're the only one. Before I started doing cryotherapy at Restore, I was doing cold shower therapy. So basically, at the end of my shower, I take a nice hot shower, and then at the end of it, I turn the water full cold and basically let it run over me for about 3 minutes. So I actually built my way up to 3 minutes, and then this is also, I think this is also in the Wim Hof Method book. He talks about your introduction to cold exposure therapy is 10 days straight of 3 minute cold as you can stand showers. And then I tell you, in the winter here in Louisville, that groundwater gets really, right now, it's like razor blades on your skin.
Oh, yeah.
But, 15, 30 seconds, you're suffering, and then you kind of get used to it, after that. It's not and now I do it when I want to pick me up. Like if I wake up a little sluggish or I'm not looking forward to my day, I'll do a cold water therapy shower, or I might obviously come by Restore and do a cryotherapy. And that feeling, to me, that feeling of your body warming up after cryo or warming up after 3 minutes in a cold shower, that's the feeling I'm looking for. That's the feeling. It's almost a feeling of renewal and invigoration. So that is what I love about cryo and what I love about cold exposure therapy.
Yeah, and one of the things I try to relate to people is that, of course, there's a lot of the physiological benefits you get from cryotherapy, but there's so much on the mental side of it that you gain from.
Agreed.
Especially for me, it's like you're choosing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
Yes.
It's really cold, and no one wants to do it. No one's like, I just can't wait to be negative 220 degrees. Right. It's so exciting. But when you force yourself in that situation, I mean, you get better at stress management because you're now choosing to be in uncomfortable situations, so you get a little more control over that. And for me, it's anxiety to an extent, because anxiety kind of stems from you not being in control or not knowing what's happening. And that's like, for me, I was anxious one day. I did cryo and I was like, I'm not anxious anymore. This is weird. It was a weird little acknowledgement afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think the more, and people like you and people can do these therapies and be conscious of how they feel immediately, a few days after, then A, they can understand the benefits, but B, they can regulate their own moods better too.
Right. I agree.
And that's a huge part of it. And like what you were saying earlier, none of this stuff is you do it one time and it works.
Right. That's correct. Yeah. It's definitely, it's a therapy. It's therapeutic in nature. You have to do it over and over again, hopefully at different times of the day and different times of the week so that your body doesn't get acclimatized to it. But that's the way you got to trick your body into not knowing what's coming next. And that way it's always ready for the next thing. That's the way I see it.
No, absolutely. And the more, because the human body wants variation. I mean, we like habitual things and like wake times, sleep times, and that nature. But day to day is not supposed to be the exact same thing. We're not supposed to go sit at a desk all day.
Right.
We're not supposed to go and just do the same thing every day. Like they used to have to hunt for stuff. And I have a weird theory that when people are hungry, they get smarter. Because when you used to have to hunt back in the day, you'd be hungry and you have to get more in your fight or flight mode. You'd have to think smarter, perform a little better. Because I've wondered why when I compete for like 12 hours a day, I perform at my best. I don't need anything.
I could see that. You're absolutely right. I mean, I could imagine that the actual hormones that are released during being hungry might activate parts of your brain to say, hey, let's go get some food. Yeah. And getting food used to be a lot harder than walking down to Kroger or your neighborhood grocery store.
Literally, I could not imagine what life would be like if I had to go out and find a bull and grab a spear and chase down that bull. And,
hopefully you'd have some friends to help you that you could share the bull with. Yeah. I think that's the way.
Instead of like your coworkers at Restore, it's like it's all of us and
hey everybody.
Could you imagine?
Let's go on a bull hunt.
Oh, woo!
The customer.
Hannah, spark up the fire. We'll bring back the bull momentarily. But see, today Hannah would go hunting the bull with us.
She would.
She'd probably kill the bull before you or I could catch up to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of her being a bad one, we did NAD for the first time. I
Okay.
did my first drip, not my shot, but a drip.
Okay.
500 milligrams. It kicked my butt.
I handled it so well.
Really?
I beat him. Mm-hmm.
Like an
Okay.
hour.
I had mine turned up almost all the way. And I was just dripping through that thing. That's not to say I didn't have any side effects or anything, but
Right.
I definitely handled it a lot better.
I was going through it.
Yeah, he was.
I was
He
there, I was like,
I can't do
So
it.
describe it to me because I've never done it before.
in a nice way, I just felt like there was a really heavy weight on me the
Okay.
whole time. A little bit of a head high,
I got congested a
a
little
lot of
bit. which is-
congestion, like right in your
weird.
face right here.
Yeah.
So your body had an immune response, I guess.
Yes, definitely an immune response. Because it's kind of like you get the feeling from the shot, which is 125 milligrams. It's a little, but that IV drip, like when it hits, and you're riding that. It's like you're going down a roller coaster. It just never stops going down. You're just going down over and over. Now the weird thing is, as soon as it's out of your arm, done. Feel
Right.
great.
Right.
It's crazy how that works. It's just immediately gone.
I mean, I went to the gym afterward and pulled 750. Like, felt great. I was like, sweet, this is cool.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I felt great. And the day after, I still kind of like a little bit of I was still there, like I was a little nasally and whatever. But 2 days, which would be today, I woke up, my HRV was fire. I slept amazing.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is nice. Because I have a hard time staying in the green with like my HRV and my recovery scores.
Yeah, sure.
So I enjoyed being able to actually have that be good. So I'm like, all right, let me try. I'm supposed to do a loading dose. I'm trying to see if I can muster myself up to do a loading dose. I have 2 weeks technically to knock it out. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. I think everyone should try it though. It's one of those things where it's like, give it a shot, just see. Because it's pretty cool. Like you do feel pretty great afterward. But man, during it, you gotta
Power through it. Yeah. It's intense.
Which it made me more sympathetic when I do tell customers to do it. I'm like, hey, like, this is great. You're gonna love it. It'll kick your butt while you do it.
But you're gonna feel so great after. You'll be good.
Great.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, it's like the gym. Like you work out and you're like, I want to die.
Yeah.
This is bad.
When you're in the middle of a tough workout, you wonder why you're there.
Yeah.
And then after when you're done, then that's when you get all the feel goods.
I know. Well, okay, so speaking of working out, you had a place you were very fond of.
Yes.
They're gone.
They're gone.
Gone.
Can I say the name? Is it?
Yeah, it's
am
totally
I allowed?
fine. No one's gonna come after you. You're fine.
Let's see. Is there a legal disclaimer I can sign? No. Yeah, there was a local. Actually, it was a chain workout facility. Functional fitness was the primary modality. They just recently closed down here in Louisville, a place called Iron Tribe. They've got a lot of other shops throughout the Southeast. They originated in Alabama. But I've been working out there functional fitness style for the last 3 years, and they closed down. So I'm kind of looking around. I've joined another CrossFit place right now that I'm still kind of getting used to, but that's been tough. It's been tough to lose your gym. Think about if Everyday Athletes closed, how would you feel?
Oh, when my old gym, like LSC Westport, closed, I was
devastated.
Yeah,
right.
Because that's the gym I grew up in, like from like 16 to 20.
You got tons of good and bad memories there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You got all your friends there too, and it's like,
right.
Because to me, the gym was like another family. Like I was there all the time. We all kept up with each other. Like we were all super close. And when you lose that, you're like, what do I? It's hard just to feel like you belong somewhere else again.
Yes. And I'm actually going through that right now. So, it's just something I'm going to have to work through.
Yeah. Well, at least you got a family at Restore.
That's right. I do.
Restore Harrell.
I love coming in and visiting you guys, and you guys are always super nice to me. And
I try to be. I don't know about Hannah, but I try to be nice all the time.
I am nice.
Lies.
No.
The funny thing is, Hannah and I have a little bit of a special relationship. We can really read each other. Like sometimes I'll walk in, and no matter what face she's got on, I know what mood she's in. I mean, no one else will know. No one else will see through
Rick knows.
the facade. But she and I have a little bit of a connection that I can tell. You're having a bad day, aren't you, Hannah? So we can go back in a red light, and I can give her a second to kind of tell me about
decompress
it.
and
And then I'm like, all right, it'll get better. It'll be all right. Probably be all right.
I mean,
and she does the same with me. She's like, Rick,
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Something's off today.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, read the energy of the. I mean, you start to read the clients pretty well after a
For
while.
sure. Oh yeah.
You see them every day, and you're like, "You good?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, do they say hi the same way? Are they like, as excited to hop in red light? And, and do the thing.
So I'd say it's probably fair for me to kind of talk about some of the other things I've done there. Maybe. Do you think is that okay?
Probably.
I like the sauna. You know, I don't use it as often as some of the as the red light and the cryo. You know, I'll come in and do a red light and cryo together. The red light warms me up. The cryo cools me down. Yep. I get that skin exercise we were talking about earlier. And I do the same thing with the sauna. If I have enough time, I'll go into the sauna and then come out and do cryo. That's a little bit harder. It takes a little bit more time because the sauna is a 45-minute to 55-minute schedule. And then I have to wait to dry off to get into cryotherapy. So that takes another 10 or 20 minutes. So the red light cryo is a little bit more efficient. Yeah. But man, the sauna feels great after a workout.
I love the sauna.
If you go work out and then recover from that workout for a half hour to an hour and then hop in the sauna, you feel so good after. I mean, literally, you feel like you take on the world.
Yeah.
Except you want to do it from your recliner because you're so relaxed.
You're like, I just want to go.
You know what? I'm going to go to the recliner. I'll take on the world later. But you do have the energy. Let's see. When I signed up, is it hyperbaric?
Yeah, hyperbaric.
Hyperbaric. that was pretty cool. I don't know what it does for me. You guys could probably explain what it does for for other clients. It was an interesting experience. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool being, is it hyper or hypo?
Hyper.
Hyperbaric.
Pretty sure.
I'm trying to,
H-spot to make it really
because
easy.
H-spot, because I'm used to being at high altitude as a professional pilot.
Oh yeah, you're there all the time.
I'm used to being at higher altitude, but I think this lowers your altitude, right? It kind of increases your pressure, or does it decrease? I can't remember.
Well, no, because you pressurize the cabin.
Yeah, it feels like it was higher pressure than I was used to.
Yeah, definitely higher. I think it's a few atmospheres. I don't know the exact measurement,
right?
But it does pressurize the chamber. I mean, of course, you have oxygen as well.
Yeah,
but the science is supposed to be it takes all the molecules in your body and shrinks them, like the free space in the cells, so it can then, transport. A lot of people with strokes do it.
Yeah,
so it transport blood supply to air because recovery comes from blood supply.
Right.
Like, if your blood can go somewhere and carry nutrients and carry all that, like that is how recovery happens.
Right.
We have a lot of people use it who are like diehard. Like they will stay on that boat every 2-3 times a month as much as they can. I know you don't get much benefits until it's like 10 sessions down, something like that. It's one of those things that I have not yet tried. I've been meaning to.
You should definitely try it. Again, I'm going to go back to it's kind of like an amusement park ride.
Yeah.
Like you get in and you've got this oxygen on and you feel the chamber, you feel the pressure, your ears popping as you get I think it's higher and higher pressure on you. But I would be interested to know what people who don't have chronic illnesses that are using it, because I've heard people, stroke victims, people who are going through chemo or about to go through chemo
hospitals a lot,
or have done chemo get benefit from it. But I'd be interested to know what people who don't have chronic illness, who are just using it as a recovery modality, could speak to with regard to the benefits of it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I see a lot of Mr. Beast did a video where he went to the top 5 biggest houses in the world or whatever. And a lot of the top athletes in the world have H-bots in their house.
Okay.
And I'm like, what's going on here? And I know there's performance benefits of it. Hell, if you get more nutrient partitioning, like that is the key to recovery.
Right.
Like, that's why people have compression therapy.
Right.
Like that is lymphatic drainage. Like that is what's happening. So I'd be very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of if you don't have an illness you're treating, it's probably it's an
optimization.
Optimization. That's the word I was looking for.
That's
Thank you.
55.
Like I said, it takes me just half a second longer to come up with the word.
You're like, ugh.
I know the word.
It's coming.
Can you say it
it's
for me,
almost
Cameron?
there. There it is.
Well, and that's where I feel like a lot of because honestly, I live in the medical side of Restore. Like that is where I am at all day. Well, because it's helped a lot with my blood pressure. It helps a lot with my general biomarkers. I got blood work done, and it's way better. And the only thing I really changed is made my diet a little better, but also I did IV drips really consistently.
Right.
And that's where I just enjoy the health optimization side of things. Because especially most people don't know about cold therapy. You don't want to do it directly after workout because it's going to mute muscle growth.
Right.
Like if you can do it before or another time, great.
Right.
Because now if you're not trying to build muscle and be jacked, it's okay. You don't have to do it right after a workout.
Right.
But honestly, for you, are you just looking at Restore to be just live a few more years, or what's your end goal with everything so far?
Well, I'll go back to the Peter Attia book that I read. I think the book's called Outlive, and I think he talks about what you really should be more concerned about than lifespan is health span. And I hope I'm not breaking any copyright agreements by talking about it that way. But health span is the most important factor, because if you're not living your life to the fullest in the way that you want to, whatever that is, your life at 80 is going to look different than your life was at 30. But even at 80, there's a certain way you want to live your life. Mm-hmm. And the minute you aren't able to live your life the way you want to, your health span is pretty much over. Mm. And that what the years you have left is just what's left of lifespan. So I see Restore and recovery as a way to help my aging body through some of the workouts I put it through. And I also see it as hopefully a way to increase my health span so that I can live my life the way I want to, as close to the end as possible. I want a health span and lifespan to line up as close as possible.
Yeah. You see, I see people all the time where I'm like, you're 40? And they're not. They don't look 40. They're like 60, 70. I'm like, you have to take care of yourself. And there's people in their 70s or 80s who I'm like, how are you still biking and playing pickleball? And like you're probably more active than I am right now. This is crazy.
Right.
So that, I mean, I totally agree that health span is what matters.
Yes.
Like you can, I mean, I'll ask both of you guys this. If you could live forever, would you?
Depends on how, right?
Healthy. If you could live healthy forever, would you?
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to go.
If I could live healthy
What
forever.
if it was only you?
No.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No,
I was
that
like,
wouldn't
I don't think I would.
That
That's the
wouldn't be
caveat.
fun. Yeah.
What about you?
Right.
If everybody around me could live forever, then yeah.
See, I feel like that's what we're doing now. You think about medicine in like 10, 20, 30 years. We might get to the point where certain people who do the right things are going to start outliving by like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Because they're taking, like, they're using the science, they're applying it, they're not drinking as much alcohol, like, they're doing it. And they're going to have everyone else kind of left behind. And we're already kind of seeing that now, too, with like some people where it's like, you know, people in their 70s, 80s are doing great. And you have people who are 60 and they're just not doing what they could be.
Right.
They didn't take care of themselves when they're younger.
Right.
They're not putting in the work now to be active. So I think that gap's going to keep growing until it just becomes normalized. Because people still think we're a little crazy for all the stuff we do.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of comments about the things that we do at Restore. You know, to the degree, I even got comments and sort of ridiculed in a fun way about my functional fitness classes. So that just tells you even that to a degree is somewhat outside the mainstream, right? You know, people think of working out as getting on a bike for 60 minutes, 8 times a week. And that's it. Okay, I did my workout. And there's so much more, you know, the science behind that is well defined about not well defined, but the current science on high intensity versus recovery versus, you know, you need all these different modalities to maintain health span. 60 minutes a day on the bike might increase your lifespan, but maybe not your health span.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Especially if you don't have any muscle mass.
Right.
And that's where you see a lot of frail. I don't know the exact metric, but it's like if you break a bone or a hip past a certain age, mortality goes up like 20, 30%.
Right.
And if you can maintain that bone health and the muscle mass, you can get out of the chair and still cook dinner and feed yourself and do basic things, then you might live longer and probably be a little better than someone have to take care of you.
Right. I have one of my trainers here who works at a Pilates studio in Norton Commons. He gave me the best advice. His name is Bear, and I apologize, Bear. Your last name is not coming to me right now because I'm 55. We talked about that already. The best advice he ever gave to me was he asked me to get up. So I did. I got up. You know, I did the normal. Put my hands on my knees and pushed myself up. He goes, that's the beginning of the end. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, you're using your hands to help yourself up. He said, you should be using only your legs. You should be doing a squat every time you get out of a chair. Every time you sit down in a chair, you should do a squat. Why? That's another 80 to 100 squats a day you're going to do. Or maybe for a more sedentary person, 30 or 50. Still 30 or 50 squats a day as opposed to hand-assisted get-ups and sit-downs. He goes, that's the beginning of the end of your health span is when you can no longer mobilize yourself, get up with ease. And so I try to make it a focus now when I get up and sit down that I only use my legs so that I get that extra squat in. And I do it all day long.
Huh.
I never thought
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That is
It's a
such
great
good
idea. You know, there's lots of studies about, you know, mortality predictions based on how many limbs it takes you to get up off the floor, right? You know, people that are in very good shape can actually do it with one leg. They can sit straight up on one leg. Most people, it takes 2 legs and a hand to get off from a lying position. But if you can move yourself up off the floor from a lying position to standing erect with just your legs, that requires balance. It requires strength. Requires all those things that increase your health span.
I'm going to try that when I go home. I need to know.
I know for a fact I cannot do it with one leg.
No,
I don't
me
think
either.
I can do it with
Me
one
either.
leg. Maybe 2.
No.
I think I can do it. I haven't done it in a while, but the last time I did it with just my legs.
I think, you can do it. That's what I'm thinking. Just my legs. My knees would pop a lot. But I
Oh,
do it.
yeah. Oh, these are crunchy.
They're crunchy.
They're crunchy, but they don't hurt. At least they don't hurt.
That's what I'm worried about because like they don't hurt, they're crunchies. It sounds like you mean popcorn. I'm like, I'm 25. I don't know what's going on here. Every once in a while in the gym, I do it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of hurts right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I kind of joke. My friends always make fun of, like, when I went through a phase where I was running a fair amount, and this was probably about 10 years ago. And my friends would make fun of me. They wouldn't make fun of me. They would advise me, "Oh, you're going to blow your knees out, man. Those running's really hard on your knees." I joked back, I didn't use them for my first 40 years, so I've got a good 40 years left in them.
No, it's wild how much I went through a running phase where I was like running a lot, and it's crazy how fast you start progressing again.
Yeah,
because my knees hurt. Definitely hurt. I didn't start wearing my barefoot shoes. Like, going from wearing like tennis shoes to barefoot shoes, that's also a totally different world of like leg strength and foot strength. But I started running and I was like, oh, my legs hurt. Like, it's just like a bone ache right now. I was like, oh, I feel pretty good. And then I move and now I can like run, jump, do all the crazy things again. Because I went through a little phase where it wasn't as healthy. Right. It wasn't as strong as I am now.
Right.
But the cool thing is, I think the moral of that story is no matter how old you are, like with you can always start taking your health back into your own life.
Yes. That is what I loved about my gym too, is that I was able to show up and they modified the workout for me and my capabilities, which is what a lot of people who look at the functional fitness world, and functional fitness is a broader term.
Yeah.
You look at like CrossFit is kind of a subset or maybe even a superset of functional fitness. And so people hear about the CrossFit / functional fitness world and they think we're all crazy. And that's absolutely not true. There are some people that are, for sure.
Yeah, I'm absolutely crazy.
You are crazy.
I am absolutely crazy.
But the great thing about that modality is that you can do progressions that meet your capabilities. And that's what hooked me, is that I can go in and do what I can do. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing more, or I'm doing the next level up or the next level up. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I loved about it. And that's what I still love about it.
Yeah. Well, in the functional fitness world, a lot of people count strongman as pretty functional because it's like you're picking up rocks.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like once as functional as you can get. It's like, hey, pick up that really heavy rock and run with it real quick.
Right.
And like we were saying earlier about it not being mainstream, it's just I think life today is just built to be so mundane, so boring, so unexciting. Yeah. That we need things to like kind of make it exciting again.
Right.
And the things that we need are what we just used to do all the time. Right. That were super normal.
Yeah.
So we're just like, we go back to cavemen because cavemen happy.
Yeah.
Modern life not happy.
That's what I noticed about that type of workout is that it was, it's not something I'm going to compete in, but what it was doing was it was making me able to do the things I wanted to do in life with ease compared to struggling to pick up groceries or struggling, because when I'm going to make fun of straight weightlifting a little bit here. Mm-hmm. Like you never hurt yourself picking something up close to your body straight off the ground and pull. You hurt yourself turning around, bending, squatting.
Picking up a box from the ground.
Yeah, picking up a box in a weird position. Not that you should be doing that, but everybody kind of messes up and makes mistakes and does that sometimes. So that's what I found out about functional fitness that I liked, that I was able to move through life a little bit more fluidly, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
With much greater ease than before I started.
Well, time's about almost up. Hannah, you got any questions to end us off? Any question you want to ask Rick?
No.
Full of questions. Endless thoughts.
I'm just here.
He's just enjoying it.
Hannah the Inquisitor.
She's an inquisitor. Hannah, I think, does great because she's been to her store for a while. She knows customers better than I do. I try to know them really well, but she knows them really well. And just to brag on, she does a good job.
I agree. I'm always happy when I walk in and she's there.
Thanks, guys.
It always picks me up.
Well, you see certain people. It's like I'm always happy if I see Rick walking in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Rick's here. This is great. And
well, it's easier when you start like to get to know people, and it makes it easier.
So. Yeah. There's some. I need to not rant too much longer because we have to cut time. But there's a study done where like you can only keep 120 close friends.
Yes.
Like 120 people that you know.
Right.
So it's like.
Oh my gosh, I have more Restore friends than actual friends.
No, facts.
For sure.
Facts.
That's so funny.
I definitely talk to Restore people more than anyone else.
Yeah.
But it's that I forgot the exact terminology. But basically it's like you only have those people. And I got Restore, I got like there's probably 20 members right now that I'm like I know really well. We talk to say, hey, what's up, dude? And that's it. And I'm sure it's with you. It's like we're now a party of probably 120 bubbles.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you're like, because you see him so much. We see you a lot. If you guys don't know, Rick has like I want to come in every day membership.
The platinum elite package. If I was a frequent flyer,
He had to ask,
I
is
would
there
be
one more?
Platinum medallion.
Yeah.
I did. I kept asking, hey, can I do this? No. Okay. How about, no, that's not enough. Let's go to the next level. No, that's still not enough. Is there any level where I don't have to count anymore? And so Cameron put me on that level.
You were like, because I didn't think you're going to come that much. And I maybe think you come more than anyone else. Maybe. I might be wrong. I might have to check my homework, but you might win.
I'm in there a lot.
You might be there as much as I am.
I get my money's worth.
You absolutely do. And I'm glad you do.
Yes.
Because you're here and you're around. Well, Rick, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great conversation.
We didn't have time to talk about you're an awesome pilot, do all this other crazy stuff, but we'll next time.
That sounds great. Thanks, Cameron. I appreciate it. Thanks, Hannah. Glad you were here.
Thank you, Hannah, for being here.
I'm just here.